Okay, we're going to give one more minute and we're going to go ahead and get started.
I will type this though to let them know we're going live.
Yep, we're going to be going live in about 1 minute. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 21st Century Business, How to Build and Grow Your Business, Zero to Low Cost Marketing Strategies with me, Ann Austin, and Leroy McKenzie. We want to thank everybody who has come out or even to come back and look at this broadcast. This is a 3-part series webinar where we are trying to help our minority community or any community that has small businesses to help them learn different techniques on how to market and brand their business using little to no money. It's always a good idea to figure out what you need to start your business. This webinar series is really designed for the smallest of businesses or people who are thinking about starting a business and is very interested in knowing what to do, where to start. This is a great 3-part seminar that you don't want to miss this one. So if you're not catching it today, definitely check it out on our website, check it out on our YouTube page, or reach out to us directly. So I'm just going to get right into the webinar here. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Ann Austin. I'm the CEO and founder of Austin Tech. I am a professional career coach. I'm also a mentor, keynote speaker, and author. And you can follow me here on my social media platforms if you ever need questions about anything regarding this website or any of the services that I have here. And we're going to move on to the next slide. And Leroy, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure, I am Leroy McKenzie Jr. I am the president of J&F Enterprises. We are a distribution, publishing, and business consulting firm located here in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm also an entrepreneur, speaker, book publisher, and a business consultant here in Baltimore. You can catch us or catch me on any of my social media. That's Facebook, J&F Enterprises, Twitter, J&F Enterprises 1, LinkedIn under my name, Leroy McKenzie Jr., and the Instagram, J&F Enterprises as well. So I want to welcome everybody, and we hope that you all will find this empowering and enlightening and impactful.
Awesome. Okay, so just a few housekeeping rules. All attendees have been placed on mute. Please use your chat window if you have any questions. And if we don't get to your question today, we will definitely respond back to you. If you experience any connection issues, please disconnect and try again. The recording of this webinar will be posted again on our websites and on YouTube. So feel free to reach out to us directly via our email that you see listed here below. Just for attending, there are a few things that we're offering to people who are interested. As far as Austin Tech, we are giving everyone a 15% discount for any small business consulting services or any one-on-one career services. And Leroy can tell you about his.
Sure, and what we're going to offer at J&F Enterprises, we have our Building the 21st Century Company book series. It's 3 books that are comprised of The Customer's Not Always Right, the Young and Gifted, and The Art of Leadership. And we're offering those 3 books at the two for I should say buy 2 get 1 free advertisement. So those 3 books, which are excellent books for you and what we're talking about tonight, we'll be talking about tonight as far as wanting to start your business and grow your business with the marketing and branding piece.
Okay. All right. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to get right into the fundamentals of branding. And this is where small businesses really need to get honed in on some of these things here. And so Leroy is going to start off this webinar today with 7 fundamental facts of branding that everybody should know. So Leroy, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Or if you feel as if there's something that that folks really need to know, because it is very important that that business owners, entrepreneurs understand what branding is, what how with the part that branding plays in your business, and how it's able to help you in order to be able to expose yourself and grow your business whole heart, just kind of from a small business into a large business, just by having a brand. And we'll get into that a little bit as we go along. But let's start with the first fundamental piece, or first fundamental, or first strategy that we're going to talk about is partnerships. And what are partnerships? What do they have to do with branding? And partnerships have to do with branding in a way that you want to develop you want to be associated with other businesses that may have something that you either don't offer, or they can benefit they can benefit you, you can benefit them in the services and products that you all offer. Now, theirs may be similar, or it may be something in addition to what you offer. Just to give you an example, earlier this year there was a conference that I was a part of, that I partnered with the small business partnership, or I should say, I partnered with the company that was doing the small business conference. And what I did with that, because small business is part of what I do, I wanted to be connected with someone that had to do with small business conferences, because i.e. there were things, products, services that I could offer at that particular conference that I thought would benefit others that would be attending. So I made it one of my goals this year to be a part of either, whether it's conferences, whether it's other businesses, attaching myself to other businesses that were doing things that I could connect with, and my products and services would benefit them or benefit their clients that they were dealing with. So that's where the partnerships come in. And you want to, the thing that I've done this year, as I mentioned, is with the partnerships, you have to be strategic about it as well, because everybody is not meant to be your partner. So you really want to make sure that you vet the company, you vet the individuals that you partner with, because it can be something that can hurt your brand. It can hurt you in a way where people, you may be partnered with someone that does something as far as customer service. They aren't good with with their customer service follow up. They aren't good with their customer service in the way that they treat their particular clients or customers. So you don't want to attach yourself to those who are who may give you a negative part of branding, because it can hurt you. And trust me, when it comes to partnerships, and it comes to people having bad encounters with businesses, they will talk. They will talk. They will talk more on the negative side than they do on the positive side, as far as business is concerned. So you want to make sure that you vet the particular business, that you vet the particular individual that you're going to partner with, to make sure, excuse me, that you make sure that that you all have the same vision, and that you all are trying to move in the same direction, and that the products and services that you offer and that they offer kind of match up with each other, and can mutually benefit not just you, but each other's clients. And that's really, really crucial. The second strategy, the second fundamental is technology. Technology is changing by the minute. So you have to make sure, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that you are up on the different technologies for your particular industry. You want to make sure that your industry, that you're up to date with anything that might be current, whether it's software, whether it's current software, whether it's a new way of being able to be able to do a particular a service that you offer. It might be a new way that you can kind of offer a product. I have a company, just to give you an example of that too. And I'm somebody that likes to give people examples because it kind of hones in on what I'm trying to kind of say. So, but there was this company that I'd worked for some years ago, and when I first started, or while I was working there, they had upgraded their software system. And this was, just to give you an example, this was back in about 99, maybe 1999, 98, between 98 and 2000, maybe 2001 at the latest. They upgraded their software then. To this day, because I still go and go to this particular business, they have the same software there that they're still using. And the system is so antiquated. Here we are in 2017, and they're using something that we used back in 1998, 2000. So it's important that you keep updated on what's out there in the technology world, because it is always changing. And it'll actually, I think it benefits you because you're able to give your customers, clients, you'll be able to meet their needs even better, or even exceed their needs when you actually keep up on your technology. Because if you have a new way of doing something, they're like, oh wow, I see you all change this, and they'll notice that you do this now versus that now. So you want to be careful and make sure that you keep up to date on technology. The next one is exposure. How are you exposing your business to your target market? If you're not out there, or if you're not at particular events, which we're going to talk about next, how are people going to know who you are? If you aren't on social media, if you don't have a website, which Ann is going to talk a little bit more on the social media side, technology side, in a little bit, you have to make sure that you maximize your exposure. And that's what I'll tell my clients when we talk about the different marketing strategies, even branding. How are we going to put you out there? What are the means of us being able to give you the maximum exposure that you need as a business? Because the more exposure that you get, the more clients that you're able to actually gain. So, and it's a numbers game. Business is about numbers. How many people can you touch? Because the more people that you touch, the more potential clients that you have. The higher that number of the people that you can be engaged with, the more likely, the higher the number is of the clients that you'll draw in. So you got to make sure that you're exposed, that you maximize the exposure that you have. That means if there are events going on, you want to be there. If there are ways that you can use social media to gain exposure, you want to do that. You want to make sure that you're using every tool in your toolbox to be able to gain the exposure that you'll need. And that leads into the events. And your events, you want to make sure that you have a calendar. Each year, each month, you want to make sure that you have a calendar of events. There are going to be things that go on throughout the month that you want to make sure that you attend. Now, just like you have the partnerships and you want to be strategic about that and you want to be careful about that, you want to do the same thing with the events. You can't go to every event, nor should you want to go to every event. So you want to make sure that you take a look at, get as much information as you can about the events that are going on. And what you want to do is you want to strategize and find out, are the people who are my target market and who I'm looking to be either to become clients or will become clients, are they going to be in that room? And if the answer is yes, then on a scale, and you have to weigh it whether it's beneficial for you to go, because some events aren't free, so you're gonna have to pay for them. So you're gonna have to be strategic about doing that. So you want to definitely make sure that you take a look at the events, get as much information as you can about what the event is going to entail, who the target market is, who's going to be attending. And then even once you select or choose those events to go to, you want to make sure that when you're in the room that you're strategic about who you talk to. I have a friend of mine, an associate of mine, Miss Kimberly Arrington, who talks about strategies about knowing the people who are in the room and being able to decipher who to talk to, who not to talk to, and it's just about keywords. It's about them saying keywords, and they will tell you in a couple of words whether or not that's somebody you need to be talking to. So you want to make sure that you have an understanding of that. That in your search, in going in the room and networking while you're in the room, that you're listening for certain words, certain keywords that you can use in order for somebody to tell you whether or not they are that they are a potential client for you, or whether you should just kind of move on to the next person and kind of keep moving throughout the room. The next thing is increase your products and services. And this can be very tricky for some individuals or for people, and this you don't want to think about until you've actually started your business, you've actually had your business for for maybe a couple of years, or 3 to 5 years, or maybe even longer than that, and you think about what other products and services can you add to what it is that you already do. I know for me personally, when I first started, I initially started my business. It was actually with the products that I offered was my Christian-based products that I offered, along with my books that I'd written at the time. It was only a couple of books that I'd written at the time. So those were the products that I had to offer. And as I've grown and as my business has grown, I started to have people ask me, hey, how did you go about doing that? How did you go about, writing your book? I have a book that I want to write. Can you teach me or show me how to do that? And that became so publishing became part of what I did. Because I'd learned the tools, I'd gotten the knowledge and some resources and information, and I wanted to be able to share that and show people, and didn't want them to have to go through the same trials and tribulations and the bumps and bruises that I went through. Same thing when in starting my business as well, doing the same thing, going through developing my entrepreneur kit that I offer for aspiring entrepreneurs and even entrepreneurs that have are already seasoned and but want to grow themselves even more, offering those resources and products that I now was able to put together, so that they can know and they can learn, like I don't have to bump their head like I did, and they have the resources and information right there. So so those are just a couple of things. I'm going to stop right there for just a second and see if Ann wanted to add anything to what I talked about so far, and then we'll get into promotions and the brand new.
Yes, basically, thank you so much, Leroy. I'm gonna tell you. First of all, it is really important for the first 4 or 5 things that Leroy talked about is utterly crucial. Just being on the webinar is a form of networking and is so important for people to
Absolutely.
be in the room. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten awesome opportunities from folks or presented to me simply because I reached out to them about partnership. And then I also talked about how technology can bring us together because I'm a technology major. So I'm looking at different ways in which I can leverage technology to help them with their business and help them with mine. On top of that, when you're doing that, you're also giving exposure to your business. Knowing they get to ask you in person who you are, what you're about, what your business is about. And you get a chance to sit there and actually explain to them and talk to them about your passion and whatever it is you want to do. And this leads to you going to events, and then it increases your products and services. So it's really just a snowball of a lot of stuff that we have to get our minds wrapped around. And so in this webinar, I hope everybody is really just taking some notes on things that may apply apply to you, that may fall within your wheelhouse that we're talking about. Because as a really small business myself, I am literally sharing with the world what I have to go through in my experience. And so I'm encouraging everybody who is listening to this webinar and seeing these slides, and just to kind of just take it in and really apply what is necessary to you. Those first 5 things is utterly important to a very small business, because your target market is mixed in with target markets for all the other businesses that's out there. So if you're not out there trying to talk to someone, or like Leroy said, you have to get on the calendar. There are so many events and stuff that's happening throughout the month. You have to be on someone's calendar to do something for your business, even if it's just talking about some opportunities, maybe some potential stuff. You never know. It may not happen then, but it may come out later on. So you have to be on that calendar. And I'm going to turn it back over to Leroy so he can talk about promotions, because we got a whole lot to cover in terms of low cost stuff.
Um,
And feel free
promotion.
to ask your question in the chat window. I see Leroy just said, is there a common technology that people should be using across the board? Yeah, absolutely. First of all, social media is one, but most of all, really the number one technology is a telephone. It's a telephone. You have to pick up the phone and call people. I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times I had to call people. And there are going to be people who is just not going to call you back, but you can't let that discourage you. It may not be the right time. So pick and choose who you're going to call, because cold calling is not going anywhere. So back to you, Leroy. Back to you.
Because folks, and I think you picked up on a key thing, and I'm gonna get back into this about the phone, about the telephone. I really think that businesses and entrepreneurs have gotten away from what you just talked about, the personal one-to-one phone calls, talking to people. Everybody wants to be in this what is it, the Twitter and text and texting individuals, but there's nothing like that person to person, phone call, voice to voice, or even face to face
Right. You have to
conversation
touch base.
with individuals. Like you said, it's not going anywhere.
Nope.
It will always be the bread and butter, because it's the way that it is the fundamental way that you are able to establish relationships. And everything that we're talking about here, it doesn't work if you don't have relationships. So
Exactly. Exactly.
understand anything that has to do with branding, with your business, anything, even with book publishing, even everything has to deal with your personal relationships. People do business with folks that they know and that they feel comfortable with. And the only way that people can get comfortable with you is if you have a relationship with them. So
Right. And you know
um,
what, Leroy, just this one last thing. That is one of the things that I'm struggling with too, because I am so used to, and just like we have a vet here saying she's a huge fan of the tablets, the laptop connection, the GoToMeeting, so do I. I tend to be behind the scenes because I'm so used to being behind the scenes, and I'm really trying to get used to having my face on a video so people can get that one-to-one connection with me.
absolutely.
And if I don't do that, I'm never going to feel comfortable talking to people that you don't know. Because see, it's easy
Right,
to talk to people you know, but it's so
right.
hard to connect to people you don't know, and it will get you out of your comfort zone. Okay, so yeah, that's right. In-person meeting is still reigns. Okay, so hit the promotion real quick, because we can go on all day
I
about the
know.
telephone thing.
Now, promotions. What is promotions? What are you doing about promotions? Promotions. How are you promoting your business? That means, where are people seeing you? Where are they seeing you? One of my strategies that I used this year was sponsorships. Yes, it's not zero cost. This will cost you a little bit to do sponsorships. But what those sponsorships do for you as a business is put your logo and put your name out there in front of people. So again, and you'll hear me say this throughout the evening, you have to be strategic about it. It's not meant for you to promote everywhere. It's not meant for you to be everywhere. You have to be strategic about where you promote your business, who you promote with, because you want to make sure that the partnerships and the promotions and sponsorships that you do, you want to make sure that it's in line with your vision, and then also in line with your target market and with your clients that you're trying to gain, because it does you no good to be marketing, in and with someone that has nothing to do with your particular, your industry, or anybody that would even remotely be interested in your product or services that you offer. You're wasting money and you're wasting time, actually. So you want to make sure that you promote in the right area. Brand you. This is the last part of this fundamentals of your branding. What is brand you? And I'm actually, brand you is something that I came up with. And it is a concept that I developed on how I started to think about my business and how I wanted my clients to start to think about their business. Brand you. It's almost like a brand university. What are you learning? What have you learned about branding yourself? What have you learned about how to put yourself out there? What are the what are the things after you've got the business going? You started, your doors are opening, you're getting ready to have that grand opening, or you're out there in front of a client. What do you say? What are you going to say to that client? And here's 3 things that I give folks that I say that branding is about. Branding is about 3 things. And those things are your logo. And if you're listening, I want you to get your pen and paper. I hope you got them ready. Well, I want you to write these down. It's about your logo, it's about your 30-second pitch, and it's about your culture. I'm gonna say that again. It's about your logo, it's about your 30-second pitch, and it's about your culture. Your logo. Where are you putting your logo? Where are you being seen? I just mentioned a couple minutes ago about sponsorships. Everything that I sponsored this year, my logo was on the banner that they had. You can see my logo, J&F Enterprises, on the whatever flag that they had, whatever banner that they had. So whatever event that they had, you could see J&F Enterprises on that banner. So it gave me that exposure. People saw my logo. Second thing, the 30-second pitch. What's your 30-second pitch? Your 30-second pitch should consist of who you are, what you do, and how you do it. Those 3 things real quick. Anybody, like we talked about being in the room. If you hear certain words, you should be just like Google. When you hear certain keywords, you go into your 30-second pitch mode. That's, here I am, this what I heard you say this. So I want to make sure that I want to make sure that I talk to this person because they said something that I know that makes me know that they are a potential client for me. So I need to make sure that I introduce myself some kind of way. Now, you don't want to go bogarting nobody and elbowing everybody in the room and everything like that, but you want to make sure that you introduce yourself to someone, or even in talking with someone, if they say a keyword, they understand who you are, what you do, and how you do it. And then the third thing, and then we're going to be finished with this, is your culture. What culture are you creating for your business? And you should be, as an aspiring entrepreneur, and even if you're a seasoned entrepreneur and you already have your business going, you should have this. What is your culture? What culture are you creating in your and for your business? When you have employees, if it's just you right now, what culture are you creating for yourself? So that when you do have employees, that you already have that culture in place, and all people are doing are coming into that culture that you've already created. So whether it's one person or whether it's 500 people, that culture is already implanted. You can ask anybody that works for Google. You can ask anybody that works for Apple. Go walk into an Apple store and tell me you don't feel the Apple culture in there. So your culture is vital to your brand, because people will associate your brand with your culture. Think about it. Think about Coke, and what that is. Think about Nike. Just do it. It's a culture. Apple. It's a culture. So you want to make sure that you create that culture and you think about that culture when you're creating your business. And even if you're already in business now, if you don't have a culture, you want to think about creating that culture and start the planning and implementation of creating the culture that you need in order to be able to have a successful business. So those are the 7 fundamentals that we have for branding right now. I'm gonna turn it back over to Ann and let her get going with the next slide.
All right, that was fantastic. Thank you, Leroy, for that. I'm telling you, if you haven't taken notes, make sure you go back and listen to everything that he said. In summary, you have to establish partnership through networking. It is critical as a very small business for people to know who you are. Leverage your technology, whether that be cell phone, the telephone is your number one, as we talked about, your tablets, social media, anything that you can link to another business that will help you in the long run. Also, look at your exposure. How are you going to get your business out there? What are you actually putting out there? And that only comes when you're out at events, when people get to know who you are. And when you do that, it's going to increase your product and services. It's going to let you know where your demand is. It's going to let you know where your target market is. And that's going to drive your promotions and also the 3 things that Leroy talked about, which is your logo, your culture, and what is your target market. Look, it is all there. Just make sure you do it. And we're going to move on to the next slide. All right, so here we have creating your marketing plan, and Leroy again have a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm pretty sure, Leroy, you may not go through all of these here, but just please just go ahead and touch on some of the critical things that people need to know in terms of the marketing plan. And after this, we're going to get into how do you do this on such little money.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Just like we talked about the branding piece, your marketing plan is one of the crucial pieces to your business plan and how you are able to effectively market yourself, how you are to effectively be able to get your business out there. So you want to make sure that you have a marketing plan in place for your business whether you're a startup or whether you are already in business. The marketing plan doesn't go away. So these different aspects of the marketing plan, you want to always be consistently going over them. You want to consistently be referring back to them to make sure that you're hitting the parts of your marketing plan. So the first part is your marketing summary, and that's just your what does your industry look like? You want to look at your industry where it was. You want to look at your industry where it is now, and then you always want to be looking at where you see your industry 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because I guarantee you it is going to change. So you want to make sure that you are in front of the bell curve. And those of you who were in I think the first seminar, we talked about the bell curve, and it's something that I've learned since I was in college about the bell curve. You always want to be in front of that bell curve. Your product and your product definition. You want to make sure that you define what your product is so that you can effectively explain to individuals or to anyone, whether it's a business to business or whether it's an individual that wants to use your product or service, what it is. It does you no good not where you can't even define what it is that what you offer, the product that you offer or the services that you offer. So you want to make sure that you have a clear definition of what your product is, what your service is that you offer. It's clear. Make sure that it's clear, it's understandable, and people can know exactly what it is that you do. I can't emphasize how important that is too. Your competition. You got to understand who your competitors are and what they do. Not just who they are, but what they did, what they're doing as well. And because you want to make sure that that and that you're abreast of hey, what are they doing? Trust me, when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were competing against each other in the 80s with the Lakers and Celtics, you better bet Magic was watching what Bird was doing and Bird was watching what Magic was doing. It's the same thing in business. Looking at their stats, and Magic even talked about that. Looking at what stats did Bird have tonight? What did he do? What did he do? He did that. Oh, so I got to do this. It's the same way in business, where you see what your competition is doing, and you say, okay, I understand what they're doing. but this is what I'm doing. And you want to make sure that you're unique in what you do and that you have your own niche. And to a certain extent, you don't want to worry about what they're doing or what your competition is doing, because what you do is what you should be doing. And you want to make sure that what you do is uniquely to you. It's almost like your fingerprint, where we can do the same thing, but because it's me and because you're you, I'm going to do it differently than how you do it. So you want to make sure that you understand that. Your positioning, how are you going to position yourself in the market, especially if you're a new business. How are you going to enter that market? You really want to think about how you're going to enter the market, and that has to do with kind of getting the exposure that you need. How are you going to get your name out there? And that goes into those fundamentals, getting the exposure. When you get the exposure, being on, not only having a calendar, but being on someone else's calendar, establishing those relationships. So you want to make sure that you do that. um, Communication strategies. How are you going to communicate to folks about your business? So you want to make sure that you're effectively communicating and letting people know that you're there. um, Packaging and fulfillment. That's just how you're going to go about getting the product and service to your clients, to your end customer. How are you going to go about doing that? You want to make sure that you have a nice presentation. If you watch Shark Tank, and you look at even the Profit, they're two excellent shows that show you. They talk about packaging, they talk about logos and those kind of things, because those things are important because it's what people see, and it's what may draw people to you. So you want to make sure that your packaging is good. There's nothing worse than always make sure that my authors with the book covers always tell them you want to have a book that stands out. What is going to make somebody pick up your book versus the 1,500 other books that they see on that bookshelf? It's got to be that way. So you want to make sure that your packaging is impeccable, and it's something that is unique to you, that stands out from everybody else. Public relations is nothing more than public relations, how you communicate to and talk to people about your business, how you kind of are on shows when people want to find out information about you, whether it's having a press kit or whether it's having just a business kit to give people information, a business, not just a business card, but like a postcard that may have some bullet points on the products and services that you offer. And then your pricing, you want to make sure that you are adequately priced in the market. You don't want to overprice yourself, and you certainly don't want to underprice yourself where you wind up losing yourself. And that's one of the mistakes I think that some businesses do make in the beginning, and me included. I did that too, where you feel like, oh, I'm trying to get myself out there, and I don't want to overcharge folks, and I don't want to overcharge people for the products and services that I offer. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you are not too undercutting yourself. Now, you may have to give some things away and free in the beginning to get your name out there, but that's all about establishing yourself and establishing your name, establishing your brand and who you are, because that can go a long way as well about getting yourself out there. Most businesses do it, if not all businesses do it. You have to. It's a part of the growing process. Your distribution, how you're going to get your products out there, the distribution outlets that you use, and there's a number of ways that you want to make sure that you look into in order to be able to do that. Your success metrics, and that's just measuring yourself. And you want to at each year, and you usually want to do this around January, February of the following year, where you just go over how you performed that year. And you can do it. December is probably going to be the hectic time. So if you can get it done in December, then you want to do it going into the new year, because you want to start your planning for what you're going to be doing next year, because you want to know what you did well, what you didn't do well, and things that you want to kind of tweak and do going into the following year. So you want to make sure around this time of year, around October, November, going into December, that's when you start doing your summaries. You start going over your marketing plan. You start visiting your business plan to see, hey, did I hit those marks that I wanted to hit each month? Why didn't I? or this is what I can do. These are the events that I was a part of this past year that I certainly want to make sure that are on my calendar next year, because a lot of events are annual. So you can, once you're on the calendar, then you want to make sure that those are events that you must attend, and so you already plug them into your calendar, and then as you go along, you build your calendar from that. And then your future year goals. You just want to start your year off, the following year off, with knowing what you want to accomplish in that upcoming year. You don't want to start the year not already having your plan in place, because you're behind the eight ball or behind the bell curve if you do that. So you really want to make sure that you have that your year goals in mind, your vision for that year. And I can't tell you how helpful that has been for me this year, being strategic about the things that I wanted to accomplish, the goals that I set for myself, the events that I wanted to be a part of, that I knew I was going to be a part of, and the relationships that I was able to build because of that. So going into 2018, it's given me the opportunity to be able to grow even more. So, and if did you want to add anything to creating the marketing plan, any of those pieces there? Because I know I'm kind of going
I would
fast.
just say, just make sure that you really, again, stressing on the first point is to review your marketing plan as you are doing your business, because as you tweak and reinvent yourself or add or take away products, you have to really go back to that marketing plan and make sure that it aligns with what you thought your mission was from the beginning. And so that's really important, because based on what you do throughout the year and the next year, when you look at your success matrix and your future goals, it's going to determine whether or not your business is going to stay progressing the way it is, or whether you're going to end up having to change something in your business. And I kind of find myself in that situation, whereas I am progressing along with Austin Tech, that there are things that I kind of want to do differently, because I keep going back to my marketing plan and I'm looking at where I faulted, where I succeeded. And that's going to also drive how you're going to market your business and how much money that you're really going to be spending for this business. I see we have a small business here. We have Jayhawk Graphics here. I want to give a shout out to him being on the webinar today. Leroy, he's actually wrote a book saying 10 reasons why your book doesn't sell. And you know what? I'm gonna plug that in, because you know what? A lot of people who might be looking at this webinar later on, who are authors, are going to want to know why your book isn't selling. And maybe Jayhawk, maybe that could be another time we could do a webinar, and I will try different technology platforms, Leroy. Maybe next time we do this, it will be on Facebook Live, and then we could have Jayhawk on there talking about his book and stuff like that. So,
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
okay, let's get right into it. All right, so for low cost, okay, so this is my section here. And I'm speaking to, again, this webinar is really tailored to the smallest of businesses who are trying to start their own business and really just need a way to get your business out there, maybe look like you're big, even though you're tiny, tiny micro business or an entrepreneur trying to do something. I'm going to go for it. So, of course, I have everything here on the screen. Please feel free to either jot this down, take a screenshot, whatever you need to do to get this information. As we talked about, as Leroy talked about all that stuff in the beginning, you really have to tell a story about your brand. It is all
Mm,
about the human emotion, the human behavior. My husband tells me all the time, if you know human behavior, you can rule the world. And I'm still trying to learn human behavior. I'm still trying to learn mine. But what I'm saying in effect is, in order for you to connect with your target audience, they have to understand and relate to what you're trying to sell. They have to relate what it is, or the need that you are trying to provide, that solution that they need for their particular problem. And so when you do your brand, like your logo, and it's bigger than just having like a fancy poster with interest, photos and words and text and fonts. It has to relate to your target audience so that they can clearly understand what it is that you're trying to do. And when they do that, they're going to see the value in your services. No matter what happens, those people are going to gravitate to you, and they're going to remember you in the long run. So when you're thinking about what kind of logo you're going to have, think about your colors, think about what your target audience want. There is one podcast from Sahar who talked about the different things that your audience is looking for. What are they buying? What colors do they like? Where do they like to shop? Where are they located? What gravitates to them? And this is the most difficult part because your target could be anywhere. It could be mixed in with anything. And so your brand has to be developed in a way that is going to attract them, and also you're going to be tweaking it as you're going along as a small business. So just keep that in mind. Now, to do your ad, you don't need any money for the next thing. You don't need a dime. You just need a few minutes of your time to sit there and figure this out, or get with someone who is really good. And here you go. You have Microsoft Office. I do all my flyers, all my banners, all my images. Guess what? Word. I do not spend any money, okay, for any flyer that you have seen. Everything you saw on my website, I have done in Microsoft Office, okay? It is cheap and it comes with your system. And if you don't have it, the least that you're going to spend at the very least is probably $135. And that was only because you're getting the suite, but you can actually get like just one application. Or even if you don't want to spend $100 or whatever dollars for MS Office because you don't have it on your computer, you can use WordPad. It works exactly the same way. If you can manipulate fonts and colors and shapes, you can create banners and ads with no money. Okay. My best friend number two is snipping tool. Yes, that is a capturing tool. It comes with Windows 10, Windows 7. You don't have to, it doesn't cost you anything. These are things where you can take little snippets of little things like little corners or little captions or certain colors that you can't do in Word. You can use this tool to grab certain things and actually put it into Word and compile an image of your own. And I usually use Windows Picture Maker to edit all my pictures. So I crop them, I do color correct, I resize them, I combine them with other ones, including Paint. Like I might use Paint in conjunction with Windows Picture Maker. These three things doesn't cost me anything. Another thing you could do to edit your images to really get that, you know how they always ask you for high quality pixel images. I use GIMP. I use GIMP all the time. I just open it up in GIMP and I go to, I think it's image scale, and then I actually increase the pixels that's in my picture to give it that vibrant color, that vibrant look. And it's a free download, doesn't cost you anything. Another thing you could do for low money as well is that you can get Creative Cloud Photoshop for 30 days for free. You can do, if you have a huge campaign coming up and you need Creative Cloud Photoshop to do some, some cutouts, some other really high quality photos, download the trial version for 30 days. Get it done, get all your marketing done for 30 days, and then you can just uninstall it, or you can pay the $9.99 a month for the annual plan and be able to get that if you feel like you need to do more marketing. But those are just things that can just get you started with no money. Another thing you can do is that you can try Fiverr. And Fiverr is a $5. Most of the services for flyers, banners, anything that you can think of, video, even the audio file that I did for the podcast was very cheap for just sending her a script and some music. And she found everything, and it was very cheap for me for her to do that, to run doing the podcast thing. So Fiverr is another resource you can use to help build your business and to get anything you need as far as what you need for. If you're not comfortable using Word, you can always go to Fiverr. Now, another thing you could do if you're doing stuff with audio files, like if you want to be radio, if you want to do podcasting, if you want to do what we're doing right here with the webinar, make sure you get yourself a really good audio editor. Audacity is also free. You don't need to pay anything. It is very, very easy to use. You just download it, and then all of the tools are right on the toolbar. And, you can pretty much just edit your sounds however you want. You can do an MP3. You can do a monochrome. You could do stereo. Any kind of audio file you can create. You can cut. You can clip. You can do all kinds of stuff. That is just my preference, and I really like Audacity. You can really do a lot of stuff there. Now, some of you might want to do videos with your branding, and video is a very intricate. That is the way of technology today. Everybody is doing some type of video somewhere, somehow. So these are a few things that you can use for that is very, very cheap. Windows Video Maker. It's not that intuitive, but it is a program that comes on your Windows 10 program where you can use to help you make your videos. Adobe Premiere Pro, that's another one you can download for 30 days. This application is so versatile that you can take any type of videos and splice them together and however you want, and be able to take audio from different places and input whatever you want. And you can literally use that for free for 30 days from adobe.com. And if you want to also have that on a monthly basis, of course, they have a payment plan, but why when you can get it for 30 days? Same thing with After Effects. When you see the bells and whistles with the different animations, if you have a little bit of technology skill and you want to go a little high tech, After Effects, Adobe Audition, and for the templates, you can get templates for free on YouTube. My sons, I'll give you an example. My sons use Adobe After Effects, and they use Sony Vegas Pro, which is another video editor. So any like backgrounds that you see, like on a green screen or any kind of template that's out there, you can literally go to YouTube and they will show the video of the template, and you can grab that video and input it into After Effects and use it. That's how easy it is. And I know these things seem a little hard, but once you get in it and actually play with it, you'll find that it's really easy to learn. Now, some people also want to do webinars, just like I'm doing right here with GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar. It's a really good platform, very cheap. It's about $30 a month for me to have up to 50 people. And as you can see, we could do webcam, we can record, we can share it, we can give presentation, I can give you control. We can have multiple people on here, whichever one you want to do for GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar. You also have Zoom out there. You have Facebook Live. OBS is another application that you can use to record your videos, and you can stream Facebook Live from it, and it's absolutely free. It is a free download. Just go to the website, Google OBS, free recording platform, and you should be able to download that application to your machine and record as many videos as you would like. And you could be able to edit that video. OBS is really nice because you can actually do double screen. You can do internal capture. You can do Facebook live streaming from it, and it's absolutely free. So those are some of the major things that you definitely want to invest your time in, because as we said earlier, technology, and every small business owner needs to learn some type of technology for their thing. Okay, moving on. Okay, here's some other marketing strategies. It doesn't cost you anything. Okay, so everybody is aware of social media, email, networking. Now, the bottom line is networking, telephone calls, word of mouth. You have to have these things. We already talked about that. Other thing we also talked about was low cost marketing. You have to have a website. Now, we're going to get into websites, brochures, business cards, and all that on the next slide. Okay, just so everybody, just for marketing purposes, this is a slide you definitely want to take a screenshot of, because this is when you need to know when your target market is online. So I'm not going to go into all of these, but I definitely want people to kind of pay attention to this, because when you are sending out your flyers and your brochures for your events and things like that, keep in mind of the age groups that are on these platforms, because these are the people who you're targeting. If you're looking for a specific age group, these are the folks that you definitely want to do and how you want to do it. So this page is going to tell you who you need to target and how you need to target them. Okay. All right, hope I'm not going too fast. Okay, now, when you're a small business and you don't have any money for a website, the easiest and most cost-effective thing you can do is get a WordPress blog site. Not a full-blown website, but a WordPress blog site. which is only just a few dollars a month, just maybe $24 a month. And I think for the actual what WordPress itself is about $15. But WordPress has two sides to it. WordPress has the individual low cost side where you don't have a domain attached to it. It's just a personal website where it might be, abccompany.wordpress.com. But if you want to get your own like full blown, like the one I have, because what I have on my website is actually a blog site. It's not even a real full blown like web hosting. It's actually a blog site that you can make static pages and make whatever you want. That's only like $15 a month, and your domain is only like 39. So really, in effect, you're saving like tons and tons of money because you're not
Now,
spending a lot of money trying to get someone to build your website. Okay.
and
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Leroy?
no, just I was just going to ask you, but I'll type it as well. Is the you just talked about the difference between an actual website and a blog site? Can
Mm-hmm.
you talk about I
Yes.
guess the benefits and the I guess to
Yes.
each.
Okay, so I see there's some questions in here too, so we're definitely going to do. Okay, so the difference between a full-blown hosting site and a blog site is this. A full-blown, when you see people saying, or the companies, I should say, advertise that they do web hosting, okay, that means that they're going to give you a template so that you can manually build your web pages, which can be overwhelming. You might have to know PHP codes, you might have to know HTML codes and things like that versus with WordPress, it is already built to be very intuitive and user friendly because they take the coding out of it and give you an interface where you're using templates that is very easy to manage. So even though I can see on your web page what you have on the back end, what you're going to have is just pretty much where they want you to put stuff. Where do you want to put your title? Where do you want to put your content? Do you want to upload some pictures? And it will actually give you thousands and thousands of free templates that you can use for your website versus web hosting. You have to determine how your site is going to look because you're using what they call the cascade style sheets, the CSS. You have to use those, and I'm pretty sure Jay Huck, he probably tell you too because he's a graphic major and web developer, that they really make a lot of money on building your website. So if you look at this slide right here, if you look at this slide, Network Solutions is what I use. They're a product of web.com company. For $15 a month, you can get a WordPress blog site and it will have all the security with it. Sometimes they have specials where you can get a free domain name and it will be your domain. It won't be abc.wordpress. It will actually be abc.com. And they have tons and tons of templates that you can use for whatever. If you don't want to do that, you can also go to web.com. You can pay for them to build a website, but it will cost you several $1,000s sometimes, depending on the complexity of your site, or it can be as cheap as a couple $100 for maybe 2 or 3 sites of your thing. You also can go to wick.com. They do have a comparable plan for a website that you can build for about $5 a month, but then you still have to try to figure out their wizards in terms of fixing up your page. So my strong suggestion and advice is to go to Network Solutions and get yourself a blog website. Okay, so yeah, we make great money. Yes, Joe says he makes a lot of money doing websites. So I shouldn't be giving away all that, right? Okay, so we got some other things, to consider here as we sort of get close to wrapping up. And then, budgeting, marketing, and branding, creating your database, driving your image, and creating your mantra. And so, Leroy, I know that we're kind of like getting, but you know what? We're going to keep this party started because we got some folks on here who's loving what we're saying. So, kind of
Cool.
going to some of these budgeting things. And I really want people to take in everything we're saying about not spending any money because if you really look at this whole thing thus far, you're really not spending any money still. Not really. If anything, you'll probably spend less than $200 just getting your website up and maybe just sitting there learning Word. But really, overall, starting your business, there really isn't any like serious money involved, right?
And well, here's the thing though too, and I told folks that we were going to be saying this throughout the webcast is you have to be strategic You are going to spend some money. You know, we ain't saying you spending no money, because if you starting a business and you ain't spending no money, I don't know where you are. So
Right,
it's
right.
gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you something. But
Something.
like Amy was just saying, if you are strategic about the things that you invest in, you can have a business that is that you have virtually, don't say virtually, no overhead, that you have. And then even your marketing and branding budget, which you should kind of slide out. It doesn't have to be that big, and you can do a lot of things without having to spend a lot of money or no money at all. Because, like Ann just said, the things that a lot of the things that we just talked about and that she just talked about specifically don't cost you anything. So it may take you, now you may have to go and learn a little bit. It'll cost you your time. It will cost you that, because you may have to learn some of the products and services that you have to learn. Because Aim, you talked about that GIMP. I'm gonna have to go find out about that one because I didn't know
You know
about
what?
that
You
one.
know what? I'm gonna tell you right now. I GIMP is one of those things where it just looks so hard, but you really only need it to really enhance your photos, really, period. But if anybody wants for me to give them a crash course on how to leverage Microsoft Word to put your hand down, Leroy, to leverage Microsoft Word for your flyers and banners and stuff, I'll be happy to spend an hour with you to show you how to do that, because it's really that easy. It's just really just getting in there and understanding where the tools are to use. Anyway, back to you, Leroy, because you can put your hand down there. Because
Just a quick question for you about the GIMP. You were talking about I guess the pictures and everything like
yeah,
that. Because I noticed, and this will be good for me to know with being able to, because most of my graphic designers, and Joe can probably talk to this too, they tell you that they need the pictures to be at least 300
yeah,
at a 300.
3,000. You mean 3,000? 3,000 to be quality photo. Yeah,
Right. Well, they've said 300. Well, I've heard 300. Maybe they did say 3,000. But to have a real quality photo, they were like, they needed to be at that 300, 3,000 DP. I think it's DPI, 300
right,
DPIs. I
right.
think.
Well, 300 DPI, 300 DPI is like a very low number for just a regular scan document. But if you're doing like a high quality photo, like when you want to do for your website, and let's say someone sent you a picture and you kind of want to beef it up a little bit, you can actually use GIMP to scale it, the pixel dimensions, and it will
Oh,
make
okay.
it.
Okay.
But
And
see,
see,
the
that's what.
thing
Yeah,
is,
that's what I
the
wanted to
thing
know.
is that you have to start off with a really good, decent photo first before you try to do
Gotcha.
that, because then it will make it kind of blurry. But there are
Right.
other ways you can use it. You can resize photos, you can actually layer it, and you can really create some really nice stuff. I am still, experimenting with it and playing with it as I'm doing stuff. But honestly, like I said, I will give somebody 1 hour of my time to show them how to do stuff in Microsoft Word, which will save you tons and tons of time and money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So those are things. Just let's start with the creating your database. And we talked about that with whether it's and it's crucial that you create a database with whether it's email, either through an email, through your email database. You definitely want to create that. And you do that by, when you're at these events, you want to make sure that you have names. If you get business cards, you want to add them to your database, so that when you have different things that your company is doing, whether it's discounts or whether you're running specials, you got Christmas coming up, those kind of things that you're running different specials, you have your database that lets folks know um, where you are, or different things that you might be doing at that particular time, and driving your image. You drive your image by putting yourself out there. Social media is a big part of that, and big piece of being able to drive your image, and being able to get yourself out there. I can't tell you how many folks come up to me and say, Leroy, you always somewhere, you always doing this, you're always doing that, because I try to make sure that I'm promoting the event that I'm at, one, but then two, I'm also promoting myself by doing that. So it's a win-win, where the event gets, they get their recognition for the event that I'm at, and then two, I get the exposure because of me being at the event and taking the pictures and posting them and putting them out there, everything like that. And then the last thing is creating your mantra, and it's almost that time of year for me to create my 2018 one. For this year, I think everybody, if you don't know, you'll know what my mantra this year is, because it's a everyday thing, and it's simply this: be unstoppable.
That's it.
Everybody,
Be
be
unstoppable. Be
unstoppable.
unstoppable.
But this year, it is be unstoppable. You have to understand that there's nothing that can keep you from being who you are, what your purpose to be, and to move on. So each year, you want to create that mantra, and you want to go throughout your whole year just reminding yourself of that thing of that mantra that you have, and it's something that's inspirational to you, something that is inspirational to those who may encounter you as well. So
Awesome. Yeah, I definitely have one too, and everybody knows what that is. Be part of the movement. Be
it is.
part of a movement that's going to drive you forward. And you know what? These are things that help reinvent you time and time again, because you're actually creating something where people will remember. And when they
Uh-huh.
remember, be part of the movement, they're going to be like, wait a minute, I've heard that term before. I heard that. I seen that on Twitter. I saw the hashtag, and then they go look it up, and bam, there you go. And speaking of your mantra, we want to make sure you don't forget to hashtag your mantra everywhere you go. And yes, it's going to get on some
Absolutely.
people's nerves as they see you keep posting it, like I be posting on my Facebook. But you know
Yep.
what? It's letting people know your passion. And don't be afraid for people to know what you're passionate about, because that's why you're in business, right? For people to know
Exactly.
what you're passionate about. Okay, so we're going to go. So I just want to reiterate what we had on last part, well, not the last, but part one's video, where you go to do your service marks. Now, I put these links here again because it's very important as a small business for your branding that you check out the first three sites before you start your business name, before you go out there and start doing your branding, because the last thing you need is to go out there and create a name, and that name is already taken by a domain name, and it's already with the patent and trademark office, or some Maryland person has already got their business already in there and it's been forfeited. You want to be very unique and specific with your business name. So make sure that you check these three links out, and make sure that that business name does not exist anywhere. Okay. Also, check out WordPress hosting. There is a direct link right there for the plans. Get the one that's about $15 a month, and you will find that it also comes with a domain email. So please stop using Gmail as your business email. I want people to start getting actual business emails. Austin
Mm.
Tech comes with my blog site, and I can actually have up to 10 emails with no additional cost with my blog site. So once you start getting your blog and everything, it takes about 48 hours after you pay for it to get your blog site. You will have the ability to set up your domain email account and have access to that no matter where you go online. And you can link it to your Outlook. So if you have Outlook on your computer, you just plug in the settings, and all your emails download in your Outlook your Outlook interface, so you don't have to log into the website. Also, if you're not interested in WordPress, make sure you go and check out Wix.com to see if you want someone else to build your stuff, or you could call my boy Joe Hawk on here, graphics. He can
Yes.
help build you. I mean, I'm gonna
Yes,
keep
sir.
plugging these small businesses in here. I see Andrea's online too. She's doing her thing, and we got Yvette Harris. I know she's doing her thing as well with the veterans. We have to kind of like really promote that out here. Okay, so what's on the next slide here? Also, here are the links again for the free download of GIMP, Audacity, Creative Cloud, and GoToMeeting. And I really encourage people to use other platforms in addition to Facebook Live, because sometimes we need people to kind of step out from the social media and really engage into, events from other technologies. Make sure you get a good audio program. Make sure you go and invest in a good microphone. So, like the microphone I have right now, I got it at Best Buy, but it's more of a higher class microphone that cancels out background noise and makes me sound really great. So make sure that you invest in that. Make sure you invest in a good webcam, because I can't tell you how many times I went and recorded my events, and my web camera did not do well, and my kids were helping me with my videos and kind of did something. But Invest the time. And that's really the only thing you're really spending is your time to learn these things, to come out and understand where you need to be and what services you need to provide and how you're going to provide it. Also, I want to make sure everybody on here signs up for part 3, which is how do you find your target market? How do you provide the customer service to your customers? This is the last part of our series, and we're going to make sure that we give again some good information on here and everything. So, and I see Yvette here. She's plugging her business out here. Let me plug in that. EDR Consulting Services. She does education, enrichment, and support. EDRconsulting.net. See, that's free advertisement for a small business. Make
And
sure
what we
that you do your part 3. Check us out. Also, we want to remind everybody, if they didn't see it, of course, we wouldn't be small businesses if we didn't offer you these fantastic opportunities to get our discount for small business consulting services and also pick up a 3-part series of Leroy's book of the 21st Century Company book series. And you can also get a 15% discount as well. And again, these are optional services that we offer to all of our clients. And we just love doing what we do here today and everything. And so we're going to open up for any questions. I personally had fun doing this thing. I hope you had fun, Leroy, and some of the folks on here
absolutely.
had fun. Had fun.
That, that's what we want them to do. We want them to enjoy it, but also learn something at the same time, though, too, because that's what it's all about. You know.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And again, it's we want to make sure that you guys can reach out to us at any time. Here's our websites here on here. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on our social media. If you have any questions or you just need general advice on how to start your business or how to brand your business. And again, I'm going to put out that free 1 hour consultation for anybody who wants to know how to use Word to do their flyers and their little memes. They call it the meme thing when you put them on Facebook, your little pictures and stuff. So if you want to learn how to do stuff like that, I will be happy to give you a 1 hour session. Just do that, no strings attached, because I want everybody to do. Okay, Yvette says, will you please repost the second slide you show regarding the resources? Okay, so let's see. I got to go back. Uh-oh, where's my thing? There we go. Is this the one you want? Sign me up. So there you go. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel.
I think
Also,
we're going all the way at the
will
beginning.
also be this also will be on our website so that you can always refer to it all the time. And
Keep going.
this one
And
right
she's looking for the one at the beginning,
here. Oh, the one at
not
the
that.
beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, she did. Now keep going. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was the first slide that you did. With
Oh,
the
okay. All right. So let me go up here. Create your brand and design your ad. Well, you know what? But these slides are here for you to peruse all day. Oh, she said the next slide. I got to follow directions. Here we go.
there we go.
All right. Leveraging marketing techniques. Okay. You know what? I'm going to just speak on this because I kind of ran through this real quick since we're still on here. Um, I found, even though we know that there are 6 platforms out there, I really had to take a long time to go through the many groups, to talk to the people who are on there, to figure out how I'm going to market to the people. Because when I was doing my workshops initially, I was actually marketing to the people in the community. And so my partner, who is my husband, he said, you know what, we need to leverage social media. And I was like, well, I'm not sure how to do that. And you really going to have to take at least, and I'm be honest, you're going to might have to take at least 2 months of your time just to go through, join the different groups, watch the posts that people post, watch and listen to, and listen to the live meetings that they have. Check out the responses when people post stuff and their reaction, and watch the behaviors. And that is going to give you a leverage on how you can just market to those folks and be on. You're going to find folks that's going to sit back and they're just going to watch every little thing you do. They're just going to watch. They may not engage you right away, but they are watching and they are listening and they are seeing what you're doing. And believe it or not, they do show up from time to time. And that is when you're going to really start connecting with them, because you're going to know exactly what to say to them. That's going to go into your time, networking, going to events, calling people up, actually referring people so that you can actually be referred. Because believe it or not, if you refer someone, guess what? They're saying something about your name, you know? They're talking about you when you refer someone. So when you refer someone, they're going to say, so and so told me. So your brand is getting out there. So think about that too. Okay. Also, low cost. When you have a website and an email address that matches, people are going to take you seriously. They're really going to take you seriously. There's so many small businesses out there that's using Gmail and Hotmail and Outlook and all that. But then when it comes down to the nitty gritty on really doing your business, they want to see a domain email address. They want to see that you really establish yourself. And so if you haven't done that yet, go back to part one where we actually tell you where to go to start your business, and then you can go from there. And then once you do that, everything else with your brochures, your one sheet, your social media, digital and video will all fall into place.
Excellent. Now, quick question before, I guess, last thing before
Yeah.
we go, Ann.
Yeah.
With now, you already have a email address. Let's say you've already established, and that's been the one that you've had. Can you, if you get a company one or website one, is there any way to link them,
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
kind of way, or
Yeah, you can do that. You can actually set up a filter or a rule in your email that any email you get from email number one can be forwarded to email number two.
got you? Okay, okay,
Yeah, so
okay,
you'll never miss an email because I have like three of them. So you can actually
got.
set up a forward and it will actually copy it to the next email address.
Oh, okay, got
Yeah.
you. Cool. So you're not missing anything. Great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
So again, we are always available for questions, for anything that you think, that might help you with your business. You can chat me on Facebook. You can send me a private message. You can send me a personal email, and I'm pretty sure Leroy will offer the same. Because we just love doing what we're doing. We're gonna actually end this webinar because it will be will be going on all night because we're having a party here. But we want to thank each and every person that has taken the time to invest in their business by coming to this webinar tonight, because it actually shows that you are serious about what you're trying to do. And we encourage you to share this and let people know what you got out of it, so that the next person will know to go look at the webinar and get the information.
Yes, please share, share, share. We want to hear from you all tonight. If you enjoy the information, the knowledge, and resources that you got tonight, please share it with your Facebook friends, with all of the people out there. Let them know about the webinar tonight, but then also about the one that's coming up next week. Let them know they need to be there next week for that webinar as well. So we hope that you'll do that. Everybody that's listening, that you'll share it, bid out, share the information, share the knowledge, and also let people know that there is another one next week, and the benefits that you all got, like Ann said, from this particular webcast that we did.
Awesome. So we thank you for your time and we wish everybody a good night.